following podcast is rated D for dumb. You're listening to Dumbing It Down with Dave, the fastest podcast on earth. Listen to Dave commute to and from work on the New York State Thruway in his 2008 Kia Rio LX. He talks about pragmatism, truth, happiness, and the search for it all. Join Dave as he asks and tells you how life ought to be. And now, here's Dave.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dumbing It Down with Dave. My name is Dave Kanyan, your one and only solo podcast host. Are you ready to dumb it down? Fantastic. Oh, that's so great that you guys jumped right on that answer. And you're ready to dumb it down with Dave. Hello, dum-dums. Welcome to the Dumbcast. It is Wednesday, May 17th, 7:01 in the morning. 7:01, 1 minute after 7. I'm Thruway. I'm southbound on the Thruway. I'm southbound on the New York State Thruway, just leaving the Coxsackie exit. There's a town up here called Coxsackie. Have I ever mentioned it on this podcast? Well, I'm mentioning it now. It's kind of got a funny name. People who live here are very sensitive about people making fun of it. But it's actually spelled, I think it's spelled C-O-X-S. C as in Charlie, O as in, oh my. X as in X-ray, and then S as in see me later, and then Aki, A-C-K-I-E, Coxsackie. Interesting, funny name in Greene County, New York. Anyway, Greene County, New York. Anyway, welcome to the Dumbcast, guys. We have a special show here. Special? Not really special. Like a special bus? Yeah, special show like a special yellow bus. Episode 70. Wow, can't believe it. 70. That's fantastic. We have a very specific show to do today because it's basically going to be me reading a letter that I sent to Rob Greenlee and Alex Exum. By the way, that was Alex Exum at the top of the show doing the intro. That's Alex Exum from alexexum.com, A-L-E-X, and then E-X-U-M. I always love the name, Alex Exum. And he has a show called The Exum Experience, and he was nice enough to do that intro for me, and it kind of changed the show back in episode 23 or 24. I can't remember, 25, but the show is called My New Intro. So thank you, Alex. And I wrote a letter to Alex and Rob Greenlee, who's the head of content at Spreaker. They have a show called Spreaker Live, and I wrote a letter, a very nice long letter, detailed, and they liked the letter. Rob complimented me on it, and he kind of read it online during the show, during episode 111, I think it is. So if you listen to 111, you'll hear them talk about it towards the end of the show. They spent about 20 minutes, actually about 18 minutes, discussing my letter, which was, and then helping me with my show, with some tips. So I'm going to share that letter with you. I'm going to read it the way I meant it to be read. They can't read the whole letter because they have a show to do. So they kind of took it apart piece by piece here and there. But there were some parts where they seemed a little bit confused about what I wrote. So I'm going to read the letter verbatim from top to bottom without me interrupting. And then I'm going to get to the comments about the comments, about Alex's and Rob's comments about my letter and some things. So let's just do it. Let's just get right to it. This is the it in Dumbing It Down with Dave. Dave replies to his own letter that was read on Spreaker Live with Rob Greenlee and Alex Exum, episode 111. So maybe they'll discuss it later today on episode 112. I'm probably commenting on it too late, but here we go. All right. It's a nice long letter. And this was in response to episode 110 where Dave Jackson from the School of Broadcasting had mentioned something about podcast lengths, the length of time, whether 20 minutes is a good time or 50 minutes is a good time. All this heated conversation based on his letter. And a lot of people have different thoughts and opinions about length. So I have my own opinion about podcast lengths. And I never thought for a minute, at all, that I would ever write this letter because I didn't think it was a thing. I really didn't think it was the thing. But guess what? It's a thing. So let's discuss it, all right? Let's do it. Here we go. Here's the letter. All right. Hi, Alex and Rob. Can I call you A&R for short? That's a radio comment, by the way. A&R. All right. I think it's a radio thing. All right. So no more interruptions, right? I'm just going to read it. No more interruptions. In regards to podcast lengths, the beauty of podcasting is that there are no rules exclamation point, ... capital letters, none, exclamation point. There are no rules in regards to podcasting, except for the boundaries and limitations set by legal agreements in regards to subscriptions, packages, and language. After that, the only limitations are set by your fears, concerns, lack of creativity, imagination, and intelligence. At 20 minutes and 15 seconds of episode 109, Rob said length needs to be driven based on what the content is. And I wrote, I agree, in capital letters. At 20 minutes and 30 seconds, Rob Greenlee, head of content at Spreaker, I think the consensus now pretty much is there is no such thing as an ideal length for a podcast. And I wrote, I agree. At 21 minutes and 20 seconds, Rob said, the most popular podcasts that get 100,000 or more downloads are typically 51 minutes in length on average. I will respond to that after this letter is read. I can agree that's true, I wrote. I would have no idea if it wasn't true. My take on that is it's easier to do a successful 51-minute or longer show if you get 100,000 downloads. I will address that at the end of the letter. Your supply is meeting a demand. It would be an interesting experiment to see how popular those shows would continue to be if you added or subtracted a few minutes in length to them every episode. At what length in time would you see a drop-off? If you saw a drop-off at all. Many years back, The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson, was an hour and a half. It was a very popular show. Then they reduced it to an hour. Although I can't produce any ratings comparisons before or after the show, it remained a very popular show. And I bet it became easier to produce and provide content. Although that's TV, it's relevant to this conversation. The 1 hour show, the 1 hour format has become the staple for a late night talk show format. It's also the length of many daytime talk shows as well. There are some talk shows that are less than an hour, like a half an hour. But those shows are more talk or news and issue oriented as opposed to entertainment. The point being, there are no rules. It comes down to being able to supply the demand if there's a demand for it. As far as my show goes, Dumbing It Down with Dave, I've produced 69 shows, actually episodes is more appropriate, of all various lengths. My first 21 episodes, I did not care about length. I knew that no one was listening, and I took the opportunity to experiment, to figure out what I was more comfortable and best at doing. At episode 22, I decided to try my best to stick to a 30-minute length to help me be more energetic and concise. I needed to get to the it of Dumbing It Down with Dave. I had a good 4-month run between November of 2016 and February of 2017. My numbers shot up. They really did. They went crazy. Since March, although, my numbers have been dropping. So now, in the next phase of my show, number 70 and so on, I need to find an answer. Is it my content, the length, my sound, my social media involvement? Although there's plenty of help online, the tech part of podcasting I find scary, intimidating, and time-consuming, especially when you have no idea of what you're doing. In summation, we can talk about length all day, every day. Length is just one small part of the puzzle of the successful podcast pie. Length, content, host, sound, and the combination of it all, just like a perfect salad, soup, or cocktail is really what we need to be conscious of. Thanks for taking the time to read this letter. You guys are great, in parenthesis, A&R, Spreaker, and the wonderful world of podcasting. All right, so there you go. That's the letter I wrote. So here, let me address a couple of things here. So Rob had a little, he said it was hazy when I talked about that it would be easier. Hold on, let me make sure I get it right. My take on it is that it's easier to do a successful 51-minute or longer show if you get 100,000 downloads. So Rob was a little hazy, but I think Alex got it. If I knew, when I decided to do 30 minutes, when the numbers got shot up, I was like, oh, great. And if I thought, hey, if I keep on going, like 35 minutes, 40 minutes, the numbers would keep on going, I would have kept on doing it. But I kind of felt like, you know what? A half hour is pretty much anybody really wants to hear me. And I was just going to stick with that for a long time. And then the numbers started to drop. So I'm thinking, wait a minute, do people want more? And that's why they're dropping off? Because I'm not giving them enough? I'm thinking, no. I'm thinking a half hour, maybe they got too used to it, or I just really did a lot of shows I shouldn't have done for a half hour. Make sense? Anyway, I don't know. But I think if I knew that 100,000 people were listening to me, I would definitely go to 35 minutes. I would go to 40. I would keep on going until I saw a big drop. I would keep on going until I said, you know what? Either I can't do a longer show or the numbers are dropping. Because at the end of the day, I want to do a quality show. Would I do a lack of quality, a lower quality show for a lot more listeners? I'm not even sure if that's possible. What kind of a show would I do that would be lesser quality and get a larger amount of listeners or downloaders? I don't know how that would work. So, anyway, so that was that. What else was there? Let me see. Let me just. There was a couple of things that I read here that I said I was going to get back to. Okay. Let's go to the notes. This is part of my show prep, right? I do have show prep. I wrote a whole bunch of notes. So before I do the notes that I wrote, and we're going to continue talking about this, let me quickly do the mileage report. The mileage report brought to you by ComedyPipe.com. Comedy Pipe, the guys that bring you Pipe Dream live every Wednesday at 8 o'clock. If anywhere you are in the world, if it's Wednesday at 8 o'clock on the East Coast of the United States of America, it's time to tune in on the internet to Pipe Dream on ComedyPipe.com. It's live. You could listen to it on the stream on ComedyPipe.com, or you can go to YouTube and you can actually see it. You can actually see Mike, a.k.a. 3D, post a 1 hour live streaming talk, comedy, internet, radio, podcast show. And he has a special guest every week. Mostly every week, there's a new special guest. So it's interesting. All right, there you go. That's the mileage report. Oh, so the actual miles that I have are my 2008 Kia Rio LX. The fastest podcast on earth, and I'm doing it in my porta potty. This is what I call my Kia Rio, my porta potty, short for portable potty, is 619 miles, 619 and a half miles since my last Dumbcast. That's a lot. That's a lot of commuting miles there. And my overall mileage is 234,644. That's my overall mileage for my 2008 Kia Rio. And I mention it because, hey, I want Kia to know that I'm doing a Dumbcast in their car, and I got 234,000 miles on it. And I do the mileage report every week while I plug ComedyPipe.com. In exchange for that plug, I do the mileage report. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's not really an exchange. But it's something I do. Kind of makes the show a little bit more professional. Not really. All right, so that's it. 620 miles. Let's hit the reset button as I do every week. There you go. I'm back to zero. Oh, I almost shut this off. Hold on a second. Oh, boy. Cancel. All right, there we go. All right, so there we go. Alex XM said at the top of the show, at 44 minutes into episode, I think it was 110, he referred to me as Dave as the cold shower that we needed. Well, that's my Dumpcast. I like to think that I'm a cold shower on everything. I'm very pragmatic. The show is called, one of the subtitles is Dumbing It Down with Dave, pragmatism, truth, happiness, and the search for it all. So there you go. Thank you, Alex. A cold shower. Maybe that'll be my new podcast name. If I ever do a new podcast, I'll call it Dave Canyon's Cold Shower. I like that. I actually like it better than Dumbing It Down with Dave. I do. But I'm already 70 episodes into this title. I'm not going to change it now. Anyway, so thanks for listening, Rob. Thanks for listening. Rob listened to the entire show. He listened to my entire episode 69, he said. So thank you, Rob, for doing that. So one of the suggestions was that I put the show up on YouTube. But I do. It's automatically up to YouTube every week. If you go to my YouTube channel, you'll see almost, I think, every episode. 69 now, it'll be 70 episodes. It's automatic upload. I haven't done the iTunes thing because, as they say in my letter, and let me see if I can find it real quickly. Well, actually, I know it off the top of my head. It's the tech part of podcasting that I find very difficult. I bought an app on Spreaker. I paid for it. I got the Android app and the iOS app, and I really thought that it was going to happen automatically, that my shows were going to go to iTunes automatically, but that didn't happen. So I haven't done that. The tech part of podcasting is what bogs me down, but I'll talk about that more. I do have a Tumblr. Alex mentioned, do I have a Tumblr? I do have a Tumblr, but it doesn't upload automatically, and I don't know how to make that happen. Stitcher, I'm not on. TuneIn, I'm not on. I do have a website, and I do have a Facebook group. I call it Fakebook. I know it's Facebook, but I call it Fakebook. So I do have a group. I was hoping the Tumblr would be automatic. It hasn't been happening. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Like I said, the tech part of it really befuddles me. I get very nervous. I get very scared. Also iHeartRadio. If you're listening, I try to do the iHeartRadio thing automatically, and it still says on my phone, on my app, it says pending. It's been about 2 months, and I haven't had a chance to follow up. Like, how come it's pending? How come it's just not denied? So I'm in purgatory with my app because everything else is automatic. Also, when you upload a show onto Fakebook automatically through the app, there was a discussion on this Spreaker Live not too long ago about the weight that posts has. Because I got to be honest with you, I have 300 some odd friends, and I use the word friends loosely. I get very little or no response, pretty much no response to the automatic upload of my show on Facebook. Like if I change a profile picture, I'll get like 15 responses. Just a lot of likes. Every so often somebody will say something. Somebody who knows me from back in the day. If I change my cover photo, is that what they call it, a cover photo? I'll get some responses. But every week when I upload automatically onto Facebook, it's like a ghost town. Nothing happens. It's very weird. I don't know why that is. And then Rob mentioned I should upload the show to iTunes because then 30 other platforms will pick up the show. All right, well, I got my homework to do. I don't know how to do that. I know there's a lot of internet stuff, a lot of YouTube stuff to show you how to do it. Rob, I'm just telling you, the tech part of podcasting befuddles me. And it's so time-consuming and scary. And let me address another thing. The reason why I do this podcast in my car, and I appreciate the compliments about my audio quality. I don't do this show on an iPhone. It's on an Android. In fact, it's on a Blue, B-L-U, bold like us, Blue Life or Blue XL Life. I don't know, some one of those dopey, no contract, unlocked phones. And I have a cracked lens too, by the way. So the sound has been good. The sound has been consistent, I think, for almost all 70 shows, except for one show I did on a Blueberry. I've had like 5 phones since last April when I started my podcast. I've had 4 or 5 different phones. I've had the LG, I've had Air Connect, some sort of crazy company. I forgot the name of the company. I've had now this Blue. I've had all different types of phones, except for like one show. The sound quality was the same on all of them, and I don't have an iPhone. And I do it in the car while I'm driving to and from work, mainly because this is the only time I have. I need Alex and Rob to understand that. I have a very busy week where I work pretty much 5 days a week, 16 hours a day, 80 hours a week, including the commute. That leaves me very little time to do anything else. I need to get my show to a point where it's set it and forget it. And I think Rob alluded to that. Like if I get the show on iTunes and wherever else I get it on, it'll be pretty much set it and forget it. Like every time I do a show, everything will automatically happen. I think that's what he said, and I need that to happen. I would love if Spreaker could help me do that. If anybody's listening to the show, if you can help me do that, that'd be great. I would be very appreciative. I'd be willing to compensate you, absolutely. So that's why I do the show in the car, to and from work. It's the only time I have. I've tried doing a show once or twice in my house, and I didn't like it. I like the driving part. I actually have a piece of paper in my right hand. I have the phone in my left hand. So how am I driving? Well, I got a left knee, and I can still hold on to the right hand, to the steering wheel with my right hand as I'm holding onto a piece of paper. It's, it sounds dangerous, I'm sure, but I'm on the New York State Thruway. I'm not exactly on the LA freeway or whatever. I'm not doing a busy city commute. I'm pretty much out here all by myself all the time. So, and I'm a professional truck driver, as a matter of fact. So I know how to look in the mirrors. I know how to be safe, and I go a little bit slower than everybody else. So, people pass me by, and, they're doing 75. I'm doing 65 or 70. So I think this is all pretty safe. But I'm sure, the authorities would not agree. It's not legal to hold a phone in your hand in New York State while you're driving. And you did a show, Rob and Alex, a couple of episodes ago. I forgot what number, 100 and something, where you talked about a device, a software that you were plugging about Mao. I forgot the name. It starts with an M. About 2 microphones, lavalier that put on your collar, and that plugs into the Android phone. And I'm going to purchase that. I'm going to give that a shot. See if it sounds good. See if it works for me. And then I can start having guests in the car. But they would have to go to work with me or come home with me. No, I go pick them up and I would do a show with them. All right. So thank you about the comments about. I hope I made myself clear about all that. I want to be on Tumblr and Stitcher and TuneIn. And I am on Twitter. I do an automatic upload to Twitter. So nobody seems to respond to that either. Listen, at the end of the day, like Alex said, sometimes people just aren't listening. And I get that. I just don't understand how hard it is to click like or share. It's not that hard, even if you don't like the show. If you're a friend of mine, right, you should be able to do that, right? All right. Thank you, Rob, about commenting on my car audio quality. I think the quality is pretty good. It's good enough. I like the ambient sound that I'm in a car. I like that. I like it a lot. I already mentioned I'm not on an iPhone. I'm on an Android. The square cover art. Yeah, I got to look at the square cover art. It was accepted by Spreaker, so I thought it'd be fine. I didn't realize it was distorted. I didn't think they would take it if it would distort, because I just thought I fit the requirements of what Spreaker wanted. So I'll have to look at that cover art, and I do want to change it. It's been a year. I want to tweak it. I don't want to change it like crazy. I have an idea of what I want to do that's going to change it a little bit, but not too much. Not enough that people wouldn't recognize that this is the cover art for Dumbing It Down with Dave. So I have been looking at graphic artists locally that I might be able to hire. I'd love to do it myself, but I guess it's probably too hard. As far as a structure and an outline, I've tried that certain episodes, and it takes, I have to be disciplined to do that. Once again, I have very little time. Basically, I hit the record button, and I go. So you might say, well, Dave, it shows. Okay, you might be right. I did promise myself a while ago that in 2017 I would try to put forth a better effort as far as show prep and all that other stuff. Yeah, I know I need to do that. I'm doing that right now. I'm reading notes that I wrote down, and I read a prepared statement at the top of the show because that was the letter I wrote. All right, where are we in? 24 minutes in. You want to take a breather? Let's take a breather. All right, then we'll close the show up. Let's take a breather. 3 deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, really deep. Right, you want to hold it and release. Like 4 seconds in, then 4 seconds out, right? Here we go. 3 deep breaths. It's called a breather. Go. Good job. I find it much easier to exhale for 4 seconds than to inhale for 4 seconds. Here we go. Breath number 2. Yeah, it started to hurt right at the top. All right, last one. It really make this hurt. I want everyone to go, ow! All right? Really deep breath. It's going to make you feel better. One last breath. Here we go. Go. Oh. All right, we took a breather. That's nice. In the lieu of a commercial break, we took a breather. Nothing wrong with that. It's good for you. It's good for me. I think so. All right, that breather was brought to you by air. Anywhere you are in the world, if there's air, clean air, you should breathe it. Go get it. It's for you. It's free. Enjoy it. All right. All right, let's see what we got here. A few more things. Alex had mentioned about the podcasting blues when people aren't listening. Like, he'll just do any show, boom, he'll get 5,000 listens. Then he'll do another show where he thinks it's going to be viral, it's going to be great. Then he gets no listeners. Yeah, that is the podcasting blues. And it's not, Rob said it's not easy to do. The grunt work, the grunt work is not easy to do. It's time consuming, which I don't have. And some of it is technical, which scares the bejesus out of me. I don't know why. I know why I'm not on Stitcher and iTunes and all that, because it's just not my forte, and I gotta break that. I gotta break that mold. I just gotta sit down one day and after a good night's sleep on a Sunday, like on a Monday morning, my first day off, I just gotta do it. I just gotta figure out how to get on iTunes. I'd love to pay somebody to do it. I wish somebody would just do it for me because they think I'm a nice guy. I wish Spreaker would do it for me. I would actually pay Spreaker a little something if they had a guy. You hear me, Rob? I would pay a little something, a one-time deal with somebody like Sergio, one of your guys out there in Italy, just takes care of all of this for me. One-stop shopping, a one-flat fee. Just like when I bought the app. I would pay for that. I would. So bring that to the crew when you go on those retreats and all that. Otherwise I wouldn't mind doing the back-end work, but it's a little scary for me. I wouldn't mind doing it if I knew how to do it. Well, that's pretty much everything I wrote here. I want to thank Rob and Alex for taking the time, about 17, 18 minutes at the end of episode 110, I think it was, for talking about my show. Thanks for the support, everybody. What do you think? Do I make any sense here? Is there anything you want to add to this whole thing about podcast lengths or this information about the tips for my show? It is on YouTube. And I do need it to get it to places more than Spreaker. I understand that. I got to try to do that. Right now, it's 7:28 in the morning. I just pulled into my driveway. I'm going to go in. My cat is waiting for me on my steps here. I got to pet her. And then my wife is going to work. And I got to get sleep because I got to be back in work in 10 hours. So the 4 to 5 days a week I drive a truck for a living at night, I got to get sleep. I don't really have time to sit there and fiddle around with the technical part of podcasting. It's hard. It's hard for me. I do need to do it. I need to learn how to set it and forget it. Can I do that? Rob and Alex, if you listen to this, I appreciate it. Thank you for your help. I really, really, really appreciate it. And I really enjoy podcasting. I really enjoy dumbcasting even more than podcasting. All right, that's it. Thanks, guys. I'm going to cut it short. I got a minute and a half before 30 minutes. Let's cut it short. Why not? Nothing else to do. All right. Thank you for listening to episode 70. Stay tuned for episode 71. That's coming in about a week or so. Let's see what happens. Let's see if I have anything to say. I might not have anything to say. It might take 2 weeks. Thank you once again. Goodbye. Good night. Good day. Good luck. Good riddance. Godspeed. And great skills. Take care. Don't forget to check us out at dumbingitdownwithdave.com. Tweet me at dumbwithdave. At dumbwithdave. Okay? Good enough? Bye. Oh, look at that. I almost forgot. Don't forget to check out The Spark. Jeff is The Spark at Taking Over the Globe. And Linda Irwin. Linda Irwin does Awesome Insanity Surfers. Both shows are able to be found on Spreaker. And there's also Off the Cuff, I think radio. Off the Cuff radio with Linda Irwin. She has a couple of shows at the very least. And Jeff has The Spark. He is The Spark. Taking Over the Globe. Brought to you by Internal Monarch. Doing a lot of new things. Jeff is expanding. He's becoming quite the professional, leaving me in the dust. Good job, Jeff. All right. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Bye.